Hello, everybody. Oh my gosh, it's a Saturday. How exciting is this? It's funny. Zach is actually at our ProQuest event right now, which is an exciting place to be. And so I'm here. I'm going to reveal our promo card and kind of talk about all the previews that we've been through so far, talk about some of the synergies we might see with this card, and hang out with everybody in chat because it's Saturday, so literally the entire building is empty. All the lights are off. I'm in here by myself like a crazy person talking into this lens right here. And it is truly one of the strangest experiences. I cannot say this enough. It's one of the strangest experiences of my life. So before we get kicked off, we won't make you wait too long, but just want to thank everybody so much for being here, for participating in the streams. Anybody who doesn't know, every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. Central Time, Zach and I stream Flesh and Blood. We've been doing that for, is it been 2 years now? I think it's been 2 years since the very first stream, like February of 2020, if I'm not mistaken. So we've been doing this for a long time. We've consistently gotten better at the game and have been having a ton of fun along the way. So if you want to check out our Flesh and Blood content, we do that pretty much every week. This next week, Zach and I will both be playing Monday and Tuesday. We'll be streaming Blitz games all throughout the stream because we're getting ready for Vegas for that Team Blitz event. It's going to be a load of fun. Secondarily, what you're going to see today is not just a new card from the Uprising set, but also a promo card that we have exclusive access to distribute. And we do that through our subscription service. So since you're kind of like sitting here having to wait and like listen to me drone on, I may as well market to you just a little bit. We do have a subscription service, and it's not like Rudy's thing. It's not like a weird Patreon thing. It's basically you sign up, you give us your payment method, it's stored securely, etc., the internet. And then whenever a new set of Flesh and Blood comes out, 3 to 4 weeks before that set comes out, we charge that payment method for however many boxes you said you wanted. And then we send you that many boxes. Usually they'll ship out a couple of days before release day, trying to get to everybody on or shortly after the release of the set. And we have subscriptions for all sorts of games, Marvel Champions, etc., Arkham, Sorcery, TCG, a new one coming up. So check that out too. We would love to have you as subscribers. And this is the only way to get this promo card as it stands now. So that's where this comes from. And that, if you're a subscriber, we cannot thank you enough. Literally, all this equipment, all the streaming stuff, everything is really just because of the overwhelming support that we've gotten over the past few years for this stream and for the games that we're selling through subscription. So a huge thank you to everyone while I have your attention. Now, moving on, let's talk about this preview. Let's talk about what we've seen so far just a little bit. So we know this is a Dromai preview. This is an Illusionist preview. We've seen a little bit of the set. So far, what we know, and Jonathan, I think I have him on Pops here. So we got the OG team. It's not even Bryce 3.0 or 1.0. It's John 0.2 on the Pops from his house down there around Bristow. So we know we have Ash tokens. So let's talk about that. If you can pull that up. We've got some Ash tokens. It seems like these Illusionists are going to be this illusion is going to be so cool. I'm really, really excited for it. So the idea is you're going to create a bunch of these Ash tokens, and then you're going to manipulate those Ash tokens and turn them into things, illusions or perhaps otherwise. So it's one of these illusionist things where you're probably going to be building a board of Ash tokens and kind of getting momentum. You're going to be losing in the early game. You're going to try to gain control in the mid to late game as you start to transform these things into bigger and better options. So with that in mind, let's move right on to the preview. Jonathan, feel free, pull it up. Let's hit it. This preview is Sand Cover, one of what I think is going to be the most critical cards in this set. We've been talking to Legend Story just a little bit, and apparently that is the case too from the set design perspective. So the ashes, you target an Ash and it gains Ward 4. And what Ward 4 does, and this is important, it's important, there's a difference in the mechanic. It prevents all damage. So this is arcane damage and physical damage, and who knows what anybody else would ultimately do with this. Could be any other kinds of damage. There's no understanding of what kind of damage we might see in the game. If you really back up and think about those early like Ira v Ira games and where the game has gone from there is like super cool. I think it's been amazing to watch the game go from like a, head jab, essentially ninjas attacking each other kind of learning game, to now we have this mechanic where Dromai is creating these ash tokens and transforming them into little dragons and big dragons, and still playing within the fundamental rule set of the game. I think that is absolutely amazing. So this is basically like a Sink Below, Fate Foreseen. Our old friend Brendan Patrick down there at the old Arsenal Pass headquarters has often sent the question, well, how many more 0 for 4s can they possibly print? And I guess the answer is one more in a new and interesting context. Now, the promo version of this card, John, let's hit with the promo. This is from Federico Musetti, who does a lot of phenomenal art for this game. And I adore the way that this turned out. I've got it here in my hand. Let me go to the overhead, and I'll show you the actual sand cover here. So one of the great things about this one is that, here, let me pull this out. Now, this could be my imagination playing tricks on me. It could be my desire for things to be, to see certain things. Art is in the eye of the beholder, after all, those kinds of things. But effectively, it looks to me like the sand is forming up into a dragon. Looks a lot like the Aether Ashwing. So this art is phenomenal. And Federico did a bunch of great pieces. I think he did Prism, if I'm not mistaken, or Lexi. I think he did Lexi. So just so thrilled to have an artist like that doing these promo cards. Just, a wanderer in the desert. I love it. I love the aesthetic. It's got this beautiful red pop to it. Absolutely incredible. Could not like this more. So Ward 4, prevent some damage. Again, mentioned in this, Matt, I appreciate that. Lack of description text on the promo is chef's kiss, so we don't have the reminder text here. It's just the target ash you control against Ward 4 until end of turn. Because if you got this promo, you know how to play the game. Right? You don't need that reminder text. This is beautiful. Okay, he did Lexi and Chain. Thank you, Norian. Appreciate that. So there's sand cover. So let's talk about how this fits in to the entire puzzle. Let's go full screen. One-man band over here. I'm like the Shaky Graves of streaming. So here's sand cover. Let's look at ash. Actually, you guys probably haven't seen this in person. I don't know what kind of previews other people have been doing. Alex, we don't have a full page close-up of the promo just because we have it in a small enough size that I think we're just using our standard template on it. Okay, so here's ash. There's ash. There's your sand cover, right? And then actually on the back of this ash is your Aether Ashwing. And so I think the majority of your Dromai play patterns are going to be putting these ash tokens on the board and then converting them into your basic unit, which is the Aether Ashwing. It's got a 1 attack, 1 health, and whenever you transform something, the ash attaches to it and makes it a phantasm. So you've got your little 1 cost or 1 attack Aether Ashwing army, which is awesome. Absolutely love that. Now, in order to make this tick, of course, we need a few more pieces. So we can maybe check out some of those. So let me pull up my my Uprising log. I've got all the cards here. I hate to have a computer here in the shot, but it does take the place of Zach pretty nicely. So let's pull up Dromai Ash Artist. Have we decided if it's Dromai or Dromai? Do we have any idea? We'll leave it to Hayden to screw up their pronunciation. Whenever you pitch a red card, create an ash token. So this is the primary way that you're going to be creating these ash tokens. Cool. Love it. Now you might be saying to yourself, as I did, pitching a red card is technically the worst card to be pitching. And you're right. And here's a wild take on this. I actually think that this hero might actually be built around pitch stacking. Because you think when you're pitch stacking, you're effectively putting a lot of your power cards down at the bottom of your deck. So I could absolutely see this hero playing into this, build your ash, pitch your red cards down for late game, use things like sand cover to stay alive and play a control-y style early to mid game, and then late game start slapping these big dragons down and making it a terror for your opponent. So we've got Dromai. We can also let's look at the Storm of Sandakai. And let me pull you guys up on chat here. Because when I'm looking at the cards, I can't also be chatting, so give me just a second. Okay. Zach, if you're out there too, how you doing at that ProQuest, man? Briar's still winning? It's like the same old deck. He's taking the same old deck to all these things. Same deck. I get it. You win this one, you take it, you win that one. Same meta. So it looks like the Storm of Sandakai. So this is one of the key pieces. This is your weapon, two-handed scepter. Love that. Dragon allies have now the ability to once per turn 0-cost attack. So this is similar to Spectral Shields with Prism. Okay. So allies can be attacked and can't be defended by the controlling hero. They die when they have 0. So remember, if the Aether Ashwing, if it attacks, and using the second piece of equipment, let's pull up Dromai again. So if you played a red card, dragons have go again. We know the scepter gives them the ability to attack, and then they have go again if you've played a red card. So you're generally going to have to start with a red card. Then you have potentially, let's say you have 6, 7 Aether Ashwings on the board. They all have go again. They all attack for 1. But the key thing here is that they all also have Phantasm. So what we were talking about in our Discord last night is this one thing to keep in mind is that if there's 7 Ashwings and they start attacking one at a time, so that first one, if you drop a 6 block on that and pop it with Phantasm, go again doesn't resolve. So the rest of the 6 won't be able to attack. And as far as we know, we don't have any kind of Phantasmal Footsteps type thing happening to recover that action point. So that's going to be an effective question mark, I think, on the defense against these kinds of decks. Is it worth it to sacrifice my 6 plus power card to stop the 2, 3, 4 damage if I don't do that these Ashwings are going to bring to the table? Kind of a Kodachi kind of style of play, just with Sand Dragons, because my gosh, of course. I mean, that's the coolest thing. Okay, and then we've also got, we've seen Silken Form. This is the common arm equipment for the Draconic Illusionist. So there's 2 things happening here. One is the instant ability where you can destroy it and transform an Ash into an Aether Ashwing. So anytime you transform an Ash, it becomes a new thing and you attach Ash to it. So it becomes a Phantasm whenever you transform. Inevitably, so far, I think everything transforms and you attach this to it to make it a Phantasm. Now, are there ways to remove this? Are there ways to put this Ash on other stuff, like your opponent's stuff? That would be sick. We will find out. But it also has a new ability called Quell 1. And it's effectively, it's effectively Arcane Barrier for all damage. And then afterwards it goes away. It's like Metacarpus nodes, but the opposite. So if you would be dealt damage, you may pay 1 to prevent 1 of that damage. And then at the end of the beginning of the end phase, you destroy the card. So Quell 1, I could pitch a blue, prevent 1 damage, second attack, prevent 1 damage, third attack, prevent 1 damage, end of my turn or beginning of the end phase. That equipment goes away. So it's just like Metacarpus nodes, but the reverse, which is phenomenal. So that could be a huge thing, right? So you could have Quell, who knows, Quell 1, Quell 2, Quell 3. You could spend your entire hand, just dumping it to block using these Quell values, but it's still very much on point. Your blue is blocking for 3 over the course of the turn. I think where Quell is really going to play a role is turning a lot of these no-block cards, thanks, Legend Story, turn a lot of these no-block cards, particularly the blues, into defensive cards when you need them to be, which is one of the big downsides of those cards as it stands, which is pretty cool. Okay, next up, let's look at what else we've got. So we've got the equipment, we've got Dromai, so we know kind of the general thing. We pitch red cards to make Ash. We play red cards to give our dragons go again. We transform our Ash into those dragons. And then we look at different ways that we might actually be doing this. So let's start with Skittering Sands, another common here. So that's a 0-cost red card. So this is an example of a card with go again that you can lead your turn off with. It's going to make all of your dragons now have go again, courtesy of Dromai's ability. It says, transform target Ash you control into an Aether Ashwing. It gains +3 until end of turn. So now it's attacking for 4. It's just amazing, right? It's like the math is fundamentally still technically the same, but it's just a little bit different. It's just a little bit flavorful. They're able to pivot it into just a fascinating little thing. Yeah, we've seen all of our cards. The preview is only, we can bring up sand cover again in case anybody's tuning in late. That would be cool if we're like, and also, whoa, here's another one. But no, it's sand cover. So we can bring that back up. And that's the promo version of that card. So imagine, for instance, right, like I pitched a few reds. I've got a few ash tokens. I can play sand cover to play a more defensive game. I can play skittering sands instead to transform an ash into an ashwing and then swing for 4. If I have 3 or 4 other ashwings on the board, now it's like, oh no, he's swinging for 4 and 1 and 1 and 1. Of course, if you block the first one with Phantasm, it blows up and I don't have go again anymore. So there's gonna be some cool play patterns. I cannot tell you how excited I am for Limited at Vegas. It's going to be amazing. This is just going to be crazy. So then next up we have Rake the Embers. As a 1-cost illusionist action, a draconic illusionist action, a 2-block, love to see it. Create an ash token, then transform up to 3 ash you control into Aether Ashwings. So what does this tell me? This has like, I think we're probably going to have a good amount of ash on the board at any given moment. You can imagine the first turn of the game, you pitch 3 red cards to make to play a 3-cost. Is she limited to once per turn on that? These are the kinds of things let's just start speculating. Let's just get crazy. No, there is no limit to that. So you can pitch 3 reds, play a 3-cost something, and then you basically just have 3 ash right there on the board. So Rake the Embers, transform 3 ash into those Aether Ashwing dragons. Now remember that'll also turn those dragons into go again attackers, courtesy of her ability. So that's kind of an instant 3 damage that you're looking at there. They also have Arcane Barrier, so I think the resource spread on these Dromai decks is going to be very much up for consideration early on, first month or so after they actually have been happening. And then looking at Grant here, Rake only needs 1 ash in play to create 3 Ashwings. Yeah, it says create an ash token, then transform up to 3 ash you control into Aether Ashwings. So I think you would need transform up to 3 ash you control into, so you'd need 3 ash in play to get all 3 of them into the Ashwings, Ward 4, Bebop 1 Fan 24. What is Ward 4? Ward 4 is throughout the turn, basically you play it, and then anytime you would take damage, it prevents damage up to 4, right? So it's like Bonehead Barrier, which is a bad explanation because nobody likes that card or plays it. It says if your hero would be dealt damage, prevent 4 of that damage and destroy this. So it's not like Bonehead, It is like Enchanting Melody. So if you would take damage, you prevent 4 of it. It's crazy though. The thing about this that's so good, it's at instant speed. So you know exactly how much damage is coming in whenever you decide to convert one into sand cover, and it's just like whoosh, disappear. It's like so cool. It's so cool. Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. So you can pitch one, you can pitch a red, and then Rake creates 1, and then you have 1 in play, so all 3 of them happen. So if you do pitch the red, you would create 3 ash with Rake. That does make sense. So we got Rake the Embers. Great card. I don't know that. I just have a habit of saying that. Who knows if that's a great card? Could be awful. We could maybe never play it ever. Then we have Billowing Mirage, 1-cost, Draconic Illusionist action, attack, 3 attack, 3 defense. Love seeing 3 defense on cards. It says when you attack with Billowing Mirage, transform up to 1 ash you control into an Aether Ashwing. So still really balanced around that kind of the crucible that is 4 in this game being the magic number. So you're launching a 3 damage attack, but you're also transforming an ash into an Aether Ashwing that you can then follow up that attack with to get your 4th damage in. Split damage between 3 and 1, solid. I don't know if, it depends on your hit effects. If you want it all coming in at 4, technically better with a hit effect. But it certainly feels like this is going to be a low to the ground, little sand dragons annoying your opponent kind of deck. And if you've ever thought to yourself, what I want to play is a low to the ground, sand dragons annoying my opponent deck, which I know a lot of you were thinking before the set came out. Like, this is the one thing I want, the one theme that would really get me. Tiny sand dragons. Then this is for you. I think you'll be very pleased. Now let's look at something a little more exciting, if you will. Let's look at Invoke Dominia. Look at that dragon. It's just the hits. It's just the classics. Dragons. Everybody loves them. Grew up with dragons. Saw a lot of dragons in early fantasy, of course. So this is where things get crazy. This almost looks like that dragon that Jafar transforms into at the end of Aladdin. One of the more terrifying scenes in all of children's cinema. So this is legendary, which means you can only have one Invoke Dominion in your deck, but it is a majestic rarity, which we've talked about in the Discord quite a bit. Probably could have named those differently. Transform target ash you control into Dominia. Go again. And then, of course, it gives you the reminder to put the ash under her. So Dominia will be a Phantasm. So you got one of these now. You only have one Invoke Dominion in your deck. Okay, so this is kind of like the Blasmophet summoning card, Doomsday and Eclipse, those cards. Let's look at Dominia. You want to pull up the Marvel version, Jonathan? Let's pull up the crazy version. It's insane. Can you imagine pulling this card out of a pack? What that's going to be like? I'll never experience it, I'm sure. So Draconic Illusionist ally. It's a 4 attack, 4 health. What you're thinking to yourself, if you're me, like you're thinking, okay, so what, you throw a romping club into this thing and it's gone? Doesn't seem terribly scary, but whenever Dominia attacks a hero, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a red card, look at their hand and banish a card from it, which is a phenomenal ability. That is just an excellent ability. I love that ability. Whew. That is scary. Honestly, that's pretty scary. Unless you're playing against Chain, and then maybe you gave them a benefit. So it's a 4 attack with Go Again for free. And then it's going to come around your opponent and they're going to say, I didn't have any 6s in hand. I couldn't blow it up with Phantasm. Do I want to waste a turn? Because again, if you swing into this thing, I don't know. You guys tell me? It's not like the normal illusionist thing. So if you swing into it, Go Again still resolves, right? Like if you swing into Blasmophet or the other one, the one that actually the Chain plays, Go Again resolve? Or is there weirdness about that? I can't remember. Anyway, you're gonna swing at this thing because as Gruder's saying, you have to respect the dragons. I think these abilities, and just like, you gotta remember your opponent's gonna have an actual turn as well. So they're gonna do everything they want on their turn, and then Dominia is going to happen. So it's pretty crazy. Now, one thing I better check, make sure Sand Cover can't cover for this guy. Okay, it says if your hero would be dealt damage, prevent 4 of that. Okay, oof. Can you imagine those Sand Covering that dragon? That's the kind of plays I'm looking to make, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so yeah, it does. Go Again and hit effects totally work on this. So there's no Spectra, no need to worry about it. You just punch the dragon for 4. Absolute classic. And then don't forget, as DOX saying, the big dragons do have Phantasm. Yeah, 100%. So block with a 6 and it dies, but who's got time for that? I mean, we're already struggling to run 6s against Prism. I guess we're going to have to run more, but like, some of us can't, okay? Like, what am I going to do in Azalea? Put in another, what is that yellow card that we all have to run? It's horrible. Nobody wants that. And it actually, you know what, the putting more 6s in your deck, that got less cool over time. I feel like people are cool on 6 6s against Prism. But I guess that's because they're playing all the weird control-y stuff instead of the angel missiles. Okay, let's see what else we got. Well, we know, let's get some ninja stuff. I think that's all the illusionist stuff that we've seen. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know if there's other stuff. I'm scrolling through here. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh my gosh, I'm getting into some of these like Icelander cards. Ooh, we might just have to do a round of those because they're so good. Okay, let's look at Lava Burst. Now, you know what's wild about this? This is just a draconic action. You know, in my brain, it's ninja, but it's not ninja. It's draconic. And so this is wild, right? We've got Lava Burst. But because Ninja, I assume, is going to be playing high chain link stuff, and then because your dragons have go again, you're going to create, you can create a ton of chain links. Wait a minute. This has revolutionized my appreciation of what's happening here. She is Draconic, right? Yeah, it's Draconic Illusionist. Oh my gosh, so cool. So they're both going to do long combat chains. So all the more reason to break one of those Aether Ashwings. But like, think about this. Think about this with Lava Burst. Like swing with drag, play a go again attack red, swing for 3 like we saw. Swing with dragon, Lava Burst for 0? Are you crazy? Ah, I love this. So Rupture seems to be a new keyword that is, if it's link 4 or higher, you're going to be able to get a benefit. We have a great example of that with the TCG player card in Breaking Point. Look at Breaking Point. This art's phenomenal. So this is a 1 cost. Chain link 4 or higher. When it hits a hero, destroy all cards in their arsenal. Bring on the hit effects. Bring on the hit effects. That is the greatest part of this game. Make me have to decide if I want to risk it and not block, or block and lose tempo. I think it's the beautiful piece of this game. That card is Bugatti. Straight up. I love Breaking Point. Love it. But also keep in mind, you're on a red curve. Now, I don't know if that's true. We might play a decent amount of blues in this deck. We don't know that yet, because you gotta pay that 4 for Dominion. You gotta do that somehow. But imagine though, maybe it's like this. Maybe it's Invoke Dominion, pitch 4 reds, create 4 ash tokens. Yikes. Sorry, John, I'm all over the place here. I know you're probably like trying to figure that out. So that could be that maybe, you know, there's a 0 cost, like the true red line build of this. And then there's the pitch and I mean, this is the game of Flesh and Blood, I suppose. That's always the question, isn't it? Look at sand cover though. I love this card. All right, well, while we're here, you guys have any questions? You want to chat at all? I kind of want to go, I just want to go and run through all the cards that we've seen so far. If you just want to hang out and do that, let's just, I'm gonna get teed up for that. And then if you guys have any questions, or, you know what, I have a revelation to reveal. I guess that's what makes it a revelation, but I have a secret to tell everybody. I'm gonna have to put my pride aside to do this. It's gonna be difficult. But you know what? I have been enjoying the Blitz format quite a bit. And I hate to say that, you know, because like there's so much about it that is something I didn't like or don't like. I'm gonna go to the main shot here for my confession. Real confessions here, true confessions. We'll be getting ready for this Vegas Blitz event. And all right, it has some advantages. I'll give it to you. I didn't think there was a reason really. You know, it felt like just CC without the opportunity to actually have a lot of counterplay, which it is. Don't get me wrong. But short games, it's like, it's way easier. It's way less taxing. You kind of get right into the meat of doing the thing right off the bat. First turn actually feels way more impactful than it does in Classic Constructed. But then I think my favorite thing is that you don't have a sideboard, actually. I think I'm really more into that. And maybe it's just because playing a bunch of games that didn't have sideboarding growing up. But this idea that I'm having to dial in a specific stack of cards to try to have the best odds against everything, and where do I want to make those sacrifices to play to these different matchups, is actually really fun. I like the deck building, I think, a little bit more in Blitz. So, sorry. I am not an obelisk of one opinion that never changes. Let's start back at the front. Let's get hype about this. Let's pull up Cold Snap. Icelander, oh my gosh. Now, here's the big question we have to ask ourselves, right? Here's the question. Are we going to be in an oppressive metagame when Uprising hits? Are we all excited about long combat chains and awesome rupture effects and summoning dragons? And then is Icelander going to hit the scene, and between that and Oldhim getting new ice cards, we're just going to be buried in frostbites? blanking our hero cards, Channel Lake Frigid everywhere, digging out of these old-fashioned prison decks. Is it gonna get to that point? I think that's a question we need to enjoy our joy and excitement right now, because it could be that in just a little bit we're gonna say, I just want to play the game of Flesh and Blood, not manage 16 ice auras on me. But I'll be playing it. Cold Snap, 1 cost blue. Ice action. Target hero may pay 1, like Winter's Bite. If they don't, freeze a card in their arsenal or an ally they control until the start of your next turn. So we're talking about these dragons. You can freeze a dragon. You can also freeze a card in the arsenal. You could also freeze a Blasmophet if Levia gets better. And a frozen object can't be played or activated. Now you could still block with it. Obviously, you couldn't block with your arsenal card, but I think frozen equipment you can still block with. You can't use the activated abilities. You couldn't play the card out of your arsenal, so it's stuck there until the next turn. And the ally can't attack or do anything. Okay. And if it's played from arsenal, draw a card. Now keep in mind, Icelander is going to instant speed on your opponent's turn, or on her opponent's turn. These kinds of effects, oof. And I think you just have to pay it most of the time. The art on these cards is so good on this this side of the set in particular has me just like jacked. Caleb, if you go to the Reddit, Steven, you can see the weapon spoiler. What Reddit? Which one? Isn't there still 2? It's the stupidest thing on earth. It drives me crazy. Let's see, Reddit, Flesh and Blood. It's like this weird, like, turf war. It's like so strange. Okay, let me go here. I'm clicking. Spoiler. Oh, I've seen it. Invoke Dominion. No. Storm of. No. I don't. Is there a new one somewhere? Hit me on my beeper. Well, let me go to the other one. Maybe it's on the other one. Wait, why am I doing this? Let me just go to the official spoiler page. Yeah, I think I've already seen everything. Let me make sure though. Because like I'm as hyped as everybody. Like I was up until like 1 in the morning last night. Stupid idea. Why did we do this to ourselves, right? It's because we're only alive once, apparently. I don't know if that's true. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're caught up. I've got it all. Okay, moving on. Cold Snap, love it. Horrible. And then going back. Okay, let's look at Hypothermia. Nothing says fun in a card game like Hypothermia. You gotta watch out. Apparently you can get Hypothermia in 60-degree weather in the shade. If you're wet, I think, primarily. So watch out. 0 cost, Hypothermia. Now, this whole affliction thing is it's Greyjoy Choke, guys. It's all here. I mean, it's happening again, and I'm here. I'm totally here for it, but I'm sorry. You know what? I'm preemptively sorry. An affliction enters the arena under an opposing hero's control. Love it. So attacks they control then cannot gain Go Again. This does not affect attacks that naturally have Go Again. It doesn't remove Go Again, but they can't gain it. A great example of this would be the lightning embodiment of lightning from Briar, right? So it cracks, gives something Go Again. Can't do it. You're in Hypothermia. You're too cold. And then at the beginning of your end phase, your opponent's end phase, destroy Hypothermia. So this is going to last for a turn. I think, yeah. It enters their control at the beginning of their end phase, so it's gonna, they destroy at the end of the turn. So that's not a great one to throw out with her ability, although it would give them a frostbite as well. Pretty good. It's gonna be disgusting. Channel the Bleak Expanse. Come on now, look at that art. It reminds me of that Deep-Rooted Evil. You guys know, for the longest time I thought Deep-Rooted Evil was a tree with a mouth. But it's people. The mouth is people. But I thought it was a tree with a mouth, like an evil tree that was about to eat things. Which would be some Deep-Rooted Evil, I mean, to be honest. Unfortunately, unplayable much to my chagrin. Channel the Bleak Expanse, 1 cost, Ice Action Aura. Look at that art. Oh my gosh, I love it. Is that a dragon or is that a land bridge? Go again. Heroes can't reveal cards, search decks, or draw cards from effects. So can't reveal cards. Okay, Fusion is a problem. Flock of the Featherwalkers type stuff is a problem. Obviously Starvo would here's your answer, but yeah, too late. Can't search decks, that's amazing. So like we're talking about, like I've been playing a lot of Kano, so we're talking about Lesson in Lava. We're talking about Knock the Death Whistle. You can tell where my brain goes. We're talking about Minerva trigger for Kasai. We're talking about everything Viserai does. Oath of the Arc or whatever, that search your Arc Knight, become your search, look around for Arcane. I don't know. It's all of the cards sound the same to me, but so that's all great. Searching is very, very powerful, obviously, in card games, so you can't do that. And then you can't draw cards from effects. I mean, come on. This is like every busted deck in the game is going to do one of these things on their turn. Straight up. Straight up. Love that. And can't draw cards from effects, so see a hat of, what's that called? I hate it so much. The hat of grass, Crown of Seeds. Crown of Seeds. Actually could not remember that for a second. Channel Ice. So this is very similar to Channel Lake Frigid. These channel abilities, you're going to have pitched cards of the elemental type that corresponds to keep them on the board. So the first time it's out, 1 counter, so you need to pitch 1 ice card. Second, to keep it around for 2 turns, you need to pitch 2 ice cards, and on it goes. Which is going to get easier now. We have more ice cards than ever, so those things will happen. Then we got Ice Bolt. 2 cost, blue, Ice Wizard action, 3 arcane damage to any target. Interesting. Let's talk about this. It's like, so red zap is a 0 for 3 arcane, but it's 3 damage. It doesn't say any target, which is kind of interesting. So does that mean it says target hero on zap? I think you guys can see it now. So this one you can send it allies. So it can't one shot a dragon, but it's worthwhile just to do 3 arcane. 2 cost, right? So this is expensive for 3 damage. This is very expensive in terms of the game. It's very expensive, but it also has that blue pitch. So we're recalculating the algorithm here and spitting out some really cool cards. Also, it's Ice Bolt. It looks great. It looks phenomenal. Love Ice Wizards. Always have loved Frost and Ice Wizards. Second only to, of course, the best, which is Water. And that's right. Crucible. Gruder's right. Crucible will get this thing to 4, so you can Crucible Ice Bolt a dragon and feel awesome. But that's probably your turn, of course. But you are a wizard, so what is a turn anyway? Blocks for 3. We love it. You can push this out of, this is exactly a Absorb an Aether play for Icelander. If you want to go that arcane direction, pitch a blue on your opponent's turn, block 4 damage. This thing comes in for 5 out of the arsenal. You love it. You love to see it. She might actually play Absorb an Aether. I was playing that in Blitz. And as much as it's good when it's good, it's really bad when it's bad. Like, I actually can't stand the card most of the time. It's so awkward when it's awkward that when it's good, you almost don't even know it. Like, you don't even care. It's like, oh, finally it's doing what it's supposed to do. Which is not fair to the card. It's not fair to the card. Okay, let's talk about Frost Hex. I only now realize there's a person behind this thing. Frost Hex, 3 cost, blue Affliction Aura. It is Icelander specialization. Frostbites you control have at the beginning of your end phase, they deal 1 arcane damage, effectively the opposing hero. So if you throw now, guys, do we know, have we seen a way to remove Affliction Auras, or are they just there forever? There's got to be a way, right? Is Thaw a way? I think there's got to be a way to do that. So Frost Hex, 3 cost, throw it on your opponent, and then every time they don't spend out for Frostbites on their turn, they take damage for the trouble, and then those Frostbites go away. Now, Acquiring Minds might want to say, well, yeah, of course, but everybody does something to get rid of the Frostbites, or they have done nothing. And I think that starts to become maybe your critical turns. Can you mess up your opponent so much that they actually can't do anything. So like imagine that you have 4 Frostbites. 4 Frostbites all red hand. What are you gonna do? You can't pay for it. You can't do anything. So then you take 4 damage, they go away. Love this. But is it gonna be oppressive? Yeah, it might be. It might be. I guess we'll find out. You can also, of course, do the classic Icelander like surprise. So right as they pass to go to the end phase, you can respond at instant speed with things that generate frostbites, like ice cards on your opponent's turn, courtesy of her ability, and then do some cheeky damage there, but you're also getting so little value usually out of those frostbite tokens. But it's kind of one of those things where you have to be aware that it's kind of like with Prism, how you got to watch out for whatever the arcane one is, Merciful or whatever it is, where, you know, they blow up the Spectral, but they instant speed in that thing that does arcane when you blow up the stuff, and then all of a sudden you die at 1 or 2 health. I think you've got to be careful with Icelander for this kind of idea. Caleb Haney, are you attending the world premiere, Steven? I, of course, am. I can't wait. I mean, another limited set, it's been tough. Limited is where it's at for some people. And I think constructed in these kinds of formats are great. It's been a lot of fun getting ready for Blitz. But I'm ready to have a format where we can crack open some packs, build some decks, and enjoy it. That's some of my favorite time on stream when we were doing that for Tales of Aria. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, these world premieres are like, to me, it's the coolest card game or tabletop game events that I've ever been to, is these kinds of premieres. I never got to experience that. The games that we were playing were generally not big enough to have that kind of attention. So the idea that you go and you're kind of discovering a lot of the cards for the very first time is wild. It's an experience like no other. The excitement in the room and just the sense of discovery you get, you know, it's hard to keep things quiet, right? Because we're all connected through the series of tubes that we call the internet. So I sound really, I guess I'm just older now, but Zach and I were on the tail end of the you didn't know it was in the set phase of trading card games. And there's nothing like getting a booster box and having no idea what's inside of it. I mean, so incredible. So you kind of get to recreate that experience in a moment at these world premieres, and I just think it's so fun. We'll also be going for all the TC crew. We'll be talking about it more in the Discord, but we'll organize some sort of meetup for everybody who wants to do that. Probably at the old Hofbrau again. Gonna have a good time there. That was a wonderful gathering. Once we got out of the insanity that was the noise. Oh my gosh, I couldn't talk to anybody. Brandon's saying Steven is Mr. Shield according to Arsenal Pass. Hey, listen to this. I'm going to dispel this real quick. They're right in that I'm better at Sealed than anything else, but I'm not necessarily great at Sealed. It's my favorite format. It's what I love the most and what I enjoy doing the most, for sure. And I did go, X and O, whatever it was, at the whatever event that was in Dallas, I think. I think it was in Dallas, or no, it was Fort Worth. And then got to the draft section and just crashed and burned effectively. But got beat by Tarek on camera. It was all very exciting. But one of the reasons I did so well at that Tales of Aria Sealed event is because Zach and I had been grinding Tales of Aria Sealed on stream for like 2 months, 3 months. And so I think it just goes to show, like, it's really in anything, it's just experience. Experience is everything. And so when you think about, like, Zach's at the ProQuest, and apparently he's not doing very well, which is not great for the point that I'm trying to make, but people that are doing really well at these events are usually just playing so much. I mean, you're just playing so much. And so we had played so much Tales of Aria Sealed that I did great at that event. But I don't think it's like because I'm Rain Man or anything. I just think I had a lot of reps, and that made it a lot easier. And my brain is just I'm not a combo thinker. I'm not like a synergy thinker. I'm like a numbers value thinker. So Sealed is obviously better for me on that front. But enough about me. Icebind, blue 0. I love all these cards. It's the art. It's because I love the color blue. What's he freezing there? Is that a big demon? Oh my gosh. What's she freezing? What are they freezing? Excuse me. And we've got, it's like a mirror kind of thing. This art is just awesome. Ice Fusion. So 0 cost, 3 defense. We love it so far. Blue 0 cost, 3 defense. You could almost put that in any deck, even if it was blank. Basically, the Titanium Bauble. Deal 1 arcane damage to any target. If it was fused and deals damage to a hero, so they don't pay it off with Arcane Barrier, freeze a card in their arsenal until the start of your next turn. Don't you get the sense that Kano is the big, tall wizard? Well, that's not fair. It's wide and tall. That's why it's so good. But Kano is doing these big amounts of arcane damage. You get the sense that Icelander is doing Kraken's Aether Vein for 1. Oh, you want to block that? No, you don't? Okay, I'll draw a card. Icebind for 1. You want to block that? No, you don't? Well, I'll freeze something. Like, it's going to be pokey, annoy stuff, I think. And so the hybrid build might actually stick around. Floating Call, it does look like a Minotaur, yeah. It's like a Minotaur mixed with like a dune worm mouth. I don't know. I'm sure we'll find out more about it at some point. And then we have Ice Eternal, also known as Icelander's Silver Surfer pose. It is a specialization. I wonder if this AC is going to come on also. If it does, don't worry, I'm going to bug out for a second and turn it off. Ice Eternal, XX in the corner. So again, let's think about this. Let's get our die out. Ice Fusion. Okay, so fuse it. Create X Frostbite tokens under a target hero's control. Then, if it was fused, deal arcane damage equal to the number of Frostbites they control. This is unbelievably good. So I want to create 2 Frostbites. I put 2 2s next to each other. That makes 4. So I pay 4. You assume Icelander's running all blues effectively. So we can pitch. This is an arsenal. We can pitch 9, 12. So that would get 6. So Ice Eternal and Arsenal, 4 blues in hand, pitch 12, create 6 Frostbite tokens, deal arcane damage. Oh, we have to fuse too though, so we can't pitch and fuse. So we've got to bump that down 9, 8. So we can only do 4. You guys have probably all figured this out already. All right, so we do 4 Frostbites, we fuse a card, and then deal 4 arcane, plus any Frostbites you've already created on the turn. If you play this on their turn, courtesy of Icelander's ability, they go to 5 Frostbites, so now you're doing 5 damage. And then if they have the affliction on them, and that means that they can't do anything, they take 5 more. That's amazing. Ah! There it is. There's the AC. Hold on, I'll go turn that on. Think about it for a second. Gotta have thoughts when I get back. Down the street. We're back. Oh, that's good. Grant's correct. It is not an ice card. Oh my gosh. It's going to be Tales of Aria all over again. I'm going to look at the card art. I'm going to assume that it's an ice card. I'm going to try to fuse with it. I'm going to try to use Icelander's ability with it. Watch out, World Premiere. Watch out. Read the bottom. Don't look at the art. The number of times in Twine Ice. Ugh. Number of times. This card is phenomenal. I mean, obviously it's your specialization. This is everything. Art. It's just the whole package here. My gosh. I love this card. You kind of know, right? You kind of know if you want to play Icelander by seeing that card. It's like, is this what I want to do? It's like, yeah, I do. I don't want them to play anything. It's a lot easier to win the game if they can't play anything. Yeah, you can, right? Gruder's right. That's correct. You can still play it as an instant, but you don't get that Frostbite because it's playing ice cards on your opponent's turn where you get the free Frostbite. Okay, let's look at Encase. Red Encase. 3 defense, Majestic. Fuse it with an ice card. Deal 3 arcane damage to any target. And then if it was fused and deals damage to a hero, freeze that hero and all equipment they control until the start of your next turn. That's fantastic. Don't you wish frozen equipment couldn't block? But I guess it kind of makes sense, right? Like if I'm in like plate armor and then I'm encased in ice, it's probably still blocking, you know? it's probably blocking more. So I get it. I agree with you, Nathan. I need the Iyslander cards in foil in my hands ASAP. Wow. I love this. You know, you kind of get that sense. So I played some Iyslander and Blitz, and it's really interesting to balance. And this is where the hybrid build, I think, came from, also being good against Vis. But you have this Kraken's Aethervein that's doing 1 arcane. And so it's kind of this weird push and pull where, like, if they pitch a blue and pay for the 1 arcane prevention, they've got 2 floating, and so another 1 arcane damage effect doesn't really do much for you. You get to give them the maximum value of their pitch card if you play arcane damage after they've already pitched 1 for Aethervein. So if it's like Aethervein, they pitch a blue, Command and Conquer, oh no, I've got to block that with 2 cards now. It's a really good way to start to manipulate the hand. So I think Encase is going to play a pretty similar role where, like, I do something like Aethervein or one of those earlier 1 arcane damage that we saw. Pitch, attack for 1 arcane. If they pitch the blue, you follow up with Encase, and then it's 3. So like now it's like, man, so I've got to pitch another card into this prevention if I want to prevent being frozen. Like, there's going to be some really fun counterplay on these kinds of cards. I'm ready. I hope, at least, I think. And let's just look at Iyslander Stormbind. My gosh, guys, come on. You know, Stormbind is kind of an interesting name for this. Do you think that it's at all a reference to Storm from X-Men? Because it, kind of got that look to it. I would have thought like Iyslander, like Ice Queen, or like Arctic Mother. Stormbind, kind of interesting, because not all storms have ice. I mean, the vast majority of storms don't have ice. That's obviously worth noting. Has 36 health, as you'd expect, 18 times 2, classic for intellect. And things I've been already saying. Play blue non-attacks from your arsenal as though they were instants, and play an Ascar during opponent's turn, create a frostbite under their control. So this is going to be is it going to be fun for other people playing against this? I think expressly no, it's not. But we're not here to have fun. We're here to conquer and slay. That's why we're here. Moving on, I think there's... Oh yeah, let's look at Thaw. Can we just look at Thaw, because this card's awesome. So, a couple of things now that we know more about this set. Thaw. 6 attack. Breaks phantasms. Great. Dragons. Gone. Okay, so that's one use of it. Then it goes to your graveyard. At the start of your turn, you can destroy a target frostbite. Now, wait a minute. So how? Right. Okay. Yeah. So these are frostbites that your opponent puts on you right on their turn. Okay, I was thinking about Iyslander and her cycle and kind of how she's doing it at the end of your turn, and then I was like, that wouldn't fix this problem, which is probably designed to not fix this problem. So this is something, Lexi flipping the card on her turn, giving you a frostbite. Come to the start of your turn, you can get rid of it. Very good. There you go. Destroy target Ice Affliction. It's right there on the card. Okay, so this is going to get rid of all of Iyslander stuff. Are we all going to... Well, we can't all sideboard this card. Only the Draconic heroes can. That's fascinating. That's fascinating. Is there going to have to be a generic Destroy the Affliction Aura card? Is anybody scared of this like I am? I'm a little scared. I've seen these things that look kind of fun, and then it's like... It's very much not sometimes. We better have ways to destroy these Ice Afflictions. I don't want to just get piled on. And then we can unfreeze target frozen card. So at the start of the turn. So, this is going to be all the rage in the early meta. I think it's kind of, we're setting up this Draconic versus Ice situation. It makes you wonder, it's kind of interesting where heroes landed. Oldhim feels like a natural for this set, but they've made it work. Okay, cool. So we've got Thaw, which does solve a problem. P. Mavers, Potion of Warming that can destroy an Ice Affliction. That could be a thing. Yeah, Potion of Warming. That's funny. Just call that a hot drink. Cryptini saying might have something to do with Storm Trotters. Maybe she's the one entangling the Aether Storm that Kano has to investigate. Well, that's kind of cool. Yeah, Yinti Yanti. Here we go. Pognak saying, yes, we're all worried about prison decks. Okay, great. Great. Like, you know, the reason that it can be a problem is that it's the same reason that like playing against Oldhim is annoying. There's not a normal play pattern that you just kind of fall into that says, oh, this is what I'll do. It's just so different of a play pattern to play against like a prison style deck or an Oldhim control style deck. It's like, okay, I got to pitch stack and do these things. Or against Icelander, it might be like, okay, I've got to make sure that I hold these cards, make sure that if she has this card in Arsenal, I don't end the turn and expect this many Frostbites to happen, and then I've got to bring my Thaws in and put this. So sometimes it can just be very overwhelming unless you're just like deep into a competitive metagame. And even then, it can be really annoying. But I'll be playing it, so I'll see y'all there. And then lastly, do we want to look at the Adjudicator? Why not? Let's just look at the Adjudicator. And then we'll get out of here. Typonus Drakai of Judgment is super cool, and you know why this is cool? I don't know if it's just a UP Ultimate Pit Fight card or a PvE card or whatever that is. But if nothing else, this is potentially a new class, right? Adjudicator? How cool is that class, by the way? Adjudicator, just making a call, and looks phenomenal. I mean, this just looks so good. So the first time each turn another hero becomes the target of a source that would deal lethal damage, you may discard a red, choose new targets for that source. See, you know what I would really like is if this said the first time a hero becomes the target of a source. Then you could use it on yourself. That'd probably be really good though, wouldn't it? Probably be really good. But like, it'd be playable 1v1 too, which I think would be really cool. Adjudicator, David saying, is the Judge promo class. Yeah. But it could be, you could see play. I mean, a couple years down the road, we could absolutely see something like this actually be in like a competitive environment. Or maybe like the Adjudicator is ultimately the Cleric in the end. You know, a lot of judgment involved there. Okay, lastly, John, let's put the promo sand cover up one more time. I'll do a little top down. We can look at it together. I'm just so thankful. Just a huge thanks to the Legendary Studios too. They little inside baseball on this. Like, we've worked with a ton of publishers over the years. Ton of publishers. Not a ton of publishers. We work with a decent amount of publishers through a ton of games. And they are the best to work with. They care about stuff. They care about stuff, and they actually have systems, and it's a miracle. I'm a huge fan. So big thank you to Legend Story, Chris over there, setting this up, continuing to keep these promos coming. They seem to love what we're doing. We love what they're doing. Beautiful relationship. That's how they're supposed to be, right? And then a huge thanks to all of you. I mean, it's just been such an awesome experience, such a privilege to be on this journey with everybody. Just know that Zach and I in particular, just because we're live so much, we really mean it when we say that kind of stuff. Man, that looks good. Oof, looks good. 15 years in, everybody. 15 years. Turns out it takes about 15 years for things to get reasonable. 15 years, my gosh. It's like from the time I was born to the time I was 15 years old, seems like a very long time. The time Covenant started to now does not seem that long. I guess it's the inevitable acceleration towards death. But thank you, everybody. Love it. Thank you for being here. Hope you enjoy these promos if you're a subscriber. If you're not, here's the reality. Here, I'll even pitch it to you straight up, person to person. You sign up now. It costs you nothing. It costs you $0. You're basically just putting your payment method on file. 3 to 4 weeks before a set comes out, you automatically get charged. It automatically gets sent to you. You have 72 hours to correct an address. If it's an old address and you forgot to change it, we do have that capability. We do that for you. Try to make it as easy as possible. We try to make it as automatic as possible. We're keeping our eye on Uprising. I know that, once the first edition shakeout, first edition subscription unlimited split, that was a whole phase of the game. We were keeping first edition MSRP through the $300, $400 Monarch boxes and the insanity that, of course, was never going to last. So we just held it steady the whole time, and we're holding it steady now. It's currently at MSRP. We're going to take a look at how Uprising goes. We're going to see what Legend Story does with supply, kind of how that affects everybody, how much is available at release and those kinds of things. And then we're always looking at price. We're always looking to make the fairest, squarest deal that we can with everybody that works for us and that works for customers as well. So eyes are on. If we need to look at that price and adjust it, of course, we'll always email subscribers when that happens. We automatically converted first edition to the standard Flesh and Blood booster box sub, and it always comes with an exclusive promo. So $0 to sign up. It supports everything that we're doing. It gets you boxes very quickly, probably, I will say, faster than any other online retailer by far. We have some arriving on release day, which is notable. And then exclusive promo, automatic, easy. That's what we're here to do. We want to take as much of the friction out of this whole process as possible, not have to hunt down pre-orders every time if you don't have a local store and you're always looking online and you get your order canceled and all that kind of stuff. Just looking to have a fair, square exchange and relationship with everybody. So we appreciate you being here very much. And I'm going to get out of here and check on how Zach's doing at that Pro Quest. I can't wait to see. I hope he's doing well. Something tells me, though, he may not be. We'll see you on a Monday, actually. Come in on Monday for the stream. Going to be playing Blitz. Going to be jamming for a long time. Tuesday, jamming for a long time. Going to Vegas on Wednesday. Please, if you're there, say something. Doesn't matter how busy we look or how serious we look. Stop by and say something. We would love to catch up with anybody who's there. Appreciate you all. Take care.